Steve Vadney. I'm Don LeBrun, and along with me is Dan Murphy. And Dan, Steve Birch, our defending champion, defeated Bill Chartier with a 391 to 351 to start the series off. Steve Vadney defeated Mr. Jones with a 371 to 310. So he knocked off Rick Jones, who was the #1 seed. So these are both very capable bowlers.
Oh, yes, excellent bowlers, both of them. First, Steve and I hooked up in the last championship series, and I lost to Steve. And Steve Vadney, he beat me in the New Hampshire State Championship. So both of these bowlers knocked me off, and they knocked their opponents off last time around. So I expect a high-scoring match.
Could be. Could be. This is Steve Birch you see on your screen. Of course, he's our defending champion. He hails from Concord. Works here at Boutwell's Bowlermore. He has an average of 131, which isn't too shabby. He has a high single of 197, and he has a high triple of 504. And, of course, he'll be meeting the #14 seed, a guy who's a pretty familiar face to you folks who have been watching us the last couple of years. And that's Steve Vadney. Steve qualified for the tournament with a 626. He has an average of 125. A high single of 186, a high triple of 452. He is from Claremont, and he works for Sturm Ruger, which I understand manufactures firearms, and he's married with 2 children, and a familiar face to us who have been with us for a while. Of course, he defeated Jones, as I indicated, 371 to 310 early on. So it has the makings of a very good matchup. 2 guys who know how to bowl and do very well at it. We've got our Lucky Roll segment in between the first and second and the second and third strings for you. And, of course, there's our address, a familiar address to most of you. And by all means, drop us a card with your name, address, and phone number to YCN, 8 Commercial Street in Concord, zip code 03301. And perhaps you'll be chosen on our Shaw's Lucky Roll segment right after the first and right after the second strings of our bowling. Well, that just about does things for our pre-match talk, and we're going to be back after these commercial messages for our first string of bowling action. Well, here we go. This should be a good one. Steve Vadney is right at the Grapponi lane number 21.
All the makings of a good one.
Last week we saw Scotty Williams, the WCBC Bowler of the Year, defeat Pete Brooks with a 384 to 343. Next week we'll have Ed Emerson, #2 seed, and he'll be meeting #12 seed Al Harwood. Steve Birch. Found it pretty interesting last week when Scott Williams said he loved to play Birch on TV.
Well, all of us bowl on the Pro Tour, so you know every month we meet each other in a tournament. We don't bowl head-to-head, but we each bowl 10 games, and we get to know each other, and the competition is always there. So. Mentioned Steve Vadney is also a member of the WCBC Pro Tour. Well, leaves the 9-pin, piece of wood out in front. Doesn't seem to be too much of a problem.
It isn't.
Steve gets away. That was a little full hit for Steve Vadney. Was able to trip out. It looked like he's going to have the 4-6 left. Dropped to 6, left the 4 for the spare.
good, Phil.
Can't do much better than that. Leaves a 9-pin. Piece of wood, it's questionable whether it's out of play or not. It looks to me like it probably is still in there, but yeah.
Get the word from the official.
Tried to go by the wood. It's a nice shot. Didn't get much help from the pin he hit, though.
Money.
Well, each bowler, they got the single pins for spares. There's no doubt about it. Expected to be this way most of the match. Let's get to 2-6. Try to cut the 2 over. Almost. Mentioned at the start of the show, Steve's the reigning New Hampshire all events champion as well as the men's singles state champion. Ball right in the 1-3 pocket, leaves a 4-7 and a piece of wood out in front. Ooh. Actually, a little too much speed there.
He's actually slowed himself down in the last couple of years.
He used to really fire the ball. He still throws the ball hard, but in a case like that with the 2 pins, the piece of wood actually went quicker toward the 7-pin than normally. Consequently, never touched the 4. Again, the person who throws hard will end up. Well, that's a break there, missing the head pin, leaving the head pin and the 2-pin for a spare. It's a fine line between throwing real hard and getting these kind of breaks, but you still have to maintain some kind of accuracy, and Stevie certainly has that.
Vadney with a light 3-pin lead at this point.
There's a first strike, it looks like.
Let us take another peek at it here.
1-2 pocket, 5-pin, last one to go down.
Yeah, what you see on your screen is his fill.
Get the 4-10. He's got a piece of wood behind the 4 too, Don, and I think if he's on the 4, he should carry the shot. No, oh yeah, off the wall. Wasn't quite the way I thought it would go. The ball actually capped the piece of wood behind it, went to the sidewall and came out and got the 10-pin.
Horseman. Pin lead right at this point for Vadney.
Gonna race it fast with those. Nice strike with for Stevie.
There's another peek at that. Wham.
And there's a similar break that Steve had a couple boxes ago, missing the headpin, leaving the 1-2 for a spare. And caps that wood, causing him to miss the shot. Have a decent game regardless if he makes this shot or not, Don. He's got 4 marks. He's going to be over 130. That's a good game with only 4 marks, but he's filled them with 9, 8, and the spare and a strike for a 10 fill and an 8 fill and a spare. Nice shot.
Yes, it was. Here's the replay once again to show you that nice shot.
Takes a little time for that 7 to go, but it clears it.
134 with this ball.
Again, another excellent fill.
141. Good start. Scoreboard is incorrect, what you see there on television. We'll straighten that out later. Steve Birch working on the strike. Fills it with a 9. I know you folks saw on your screen a 151, but we have a 141 as well as the scorer here for the folks watching. So I'm sure Steve Vadney would like to have the 151.
Yeah, I'm sure. Nice try by Steve.
For 119. So Vadney with a lead of 141 to Steve Birch's 119. Let me ask you before we go to commercial real quickly, what does it take for someone to qualify for the WCBC tour?
Okay, qualifications are very simple. For the men, you have to have at least a 112 average. For the women, 102. And other than that, it's kind of a sport you can become a professional fairly easy. You have to maintain that average through the year, either in a league or on the pro tour itself.
Well, approximately how many people are involved in a professional tournament?
Okay, we have 108 men at this point, and I think 180 men and 108 women.
Wow. So you can be pretty good at keeping the money, though, don't you?
Right. Yeah, you do.
Okay. The address, once again, on the screen for you for our Lucky Roll segment. And there it is. Please jot down your name, address, and phone number on the postcard and mail it to us at that address. And we do Lucky Roll after the first and after the second straights. And it's now after the first, so we'll be doing Lucky Roll right after these words. Okay, it was a long 5 seconds we were waiting there. Steve, I'm going to spin this barrel, and you can reach in and pick out a winner for us in the Lucky Roll. We have $110 in our Lucky roll jackpot right now. Thank you. And Steve will be rolling for Darlene Hall of RFD 10 Robinson's Trailer Park in Concord, New Hampshire. So Darlene, you watch closely. Maybe $110 will be coming your way. Well, it's a 2. So what we're going to do is give you a minimum of $5 in Shaw's food certificates. And if Steve can match up the 2, Darlene will have $110. Maybe our lucky number is 2. Wait and see. It's coming around. No, sir. I think it's going to stop in a 1. It will. So we're going to add $1 to our total, so it's $111 after the second string. And Darlene, we appreciate you dropping us this nice card and sending us to YCN 8 Commercial Street in Concord. And glad you were a winner in our Lucky Roll segment. And perhaps you at home will take the time to drop us a postcard, print your name, address, and phone number on it, and maybe you'll be drawn as well. Our second string of this fine bowling match will be coming up after this. Well, the Grapponi Transportation Center lane is the place where Steve Birch rolls his first one. Steve is 22 pins down. Steve Vadney. There's a spare to start things off.
Stevie's sliding the ball to the left. Nice try.
Of course, next week, week number 10, we'll have Ed Emerson, the number 2 seed, and he'll be meeting the number 12 seed, Al Harwood. Found the gap.
Half Worcester to the left. He's gone through the hole. Oh, nice cleanup. Nice out. Steve's back on the headpin, leaves the 3-5. Whoa, he got a break there.
Sure did.
Got a break there. He's on the object pin, but real light, and the pin actually went to the sidewall and came back to clear the 5. Stevie's got the 4 pin there, and he wants that wood to stay out. I guess he's got a clear shot at it. Again, he slides by to the right, but leaves himself a decent lead for not hitting the head pin. 1, 2, and 4. Legitimate spare leave. Nails it down. Sign of a good bowler. You get a break, you got to take advantage of it. It's no gimme here. It's a 6-pin. Piece of wood is out in front of it, deep. Nice try. Nice shot. These pins are starting to merge together here in front of my eyes. Turn that wood just enough to carry that 6. Nice shot.
Beautiful shot. I hope we've got that one on replay.
It's 2, 4, 7, and 10, and a piece of wood behind the 2 and the 4, but I don't even think he needs it.
There it is again.
Cuts the 2 and the 4. That's the 2 pin still laying on the deck there. What a shot. The wood's going to roll back into play again.
Checking it out here. And it looks all right. So we are at beautiful Boutwell's Bowlemore in Concord. Nice place to come down either weekly or occasionally and enjoy yourself. I also wanted to ask Dan, what kind of bowler is Bob Birch?
Bob Birch?
Yeah.
Well, you got to understand he signs my checks, so he's not a bad
excellent.
bowler. Stevie was flushing the head pin that time. Break, piece of wood, and he converts a spare. Oh boy, he's dynamite right now.
I guess so. 4th mark in a row.
Steve realizes he's going to need every pin he's getting. I really don't think Stevie's hit his stride yet, and yet he's still very much in the match. Even with that deficit of 22 pins of first string, he can throw that big game.
No help.
With the sleeper 8-pin in the back there. On the other hand, Stevie wants to put a mark up here and set up the last 2 boxes. He leaves 2 open for a fellow like Steve. Steve will have to throw a double mark and find himself 40 pins down. Two, 7, and 9. Nice cover.
Cleaned its clock that time.
Jeez, the ball just exploding on those pins. Those pins are jumping around. May have enough angle on this piece of wood to play the wood and have the ball go over and catch the 4 and the 7. Like that.
Nice. Here's another look at that first, well, here's a look at the spare then.
Plays right off the wood. Nice shot. Stevie's getting spare 6, spare 6, spare 7, but he's losing ground because Vadney's going spare, strike, strike, spare. This is the match we predicted, Don. It's going to be high scoring. These guys are really going at it.
Nine. 133.
Nice game, 133, but Freddie, with a decent fill here, Steve is going to gain a few more pins on Steve.
He is hot.
He certainly is. And Stevie has a tendency to do this. I remember last championship round, I met Tim Lipke and threw Stevie bowled 380 something, which is a good score. You only get beat by 80 some pins. Timmy threw 466 or 461, something like that.
Oh wow!
Oh boy!
Let's take another peek at that one. That was something else.
24710. He made the shot earlier too. Cuts the 2 and the 4, just like it says in the book.
Boy, he's had a fine string.
8 marks out of 10 boxes.
Oh, look at that. 164. That is one fine string on television. I've got him down for 305. 141 and a 164 for Steve Vadney. Stevie Birch, who's not really bowling bad, has a 119 and a 133 for a 252. So, holy cow. That is something else. Well, if anybody can catch up, it's Birch, because he's certainly capable of those exploding to those big individual strings. If you're Steve Birch, what are you thinking now?
No, I wouldn't change anything. Stevie's hitting the head pin pretty well. He's yet to throw, well, he threw 1 strike. That's not typical of Stevie. Stevie throws a lot of strikes. It wouldn't surprise me at all to have Stevie come out and throw a double strike or something. So he's 50 pins is a lot of pins, don't get me wrong, but if, like you said, if there's anyone who can throw strikes and get back in it, it's Steve.
But is he liable to come out with the attitude of maybe pick up the speed a little bit on my ball, try to get a little bit more movement?
Well, Stevie has a tendency to do that. Sometimes it gets him in trouble, but yeah, he's going to come out looking for strikes, so he's going to be really humming the ball, I'm afraid.
Now, on the other side of the coin, Steve Vadney has just rolled a 164 after 141. What is he thinking?
Same thing as a couple matches before with Scotty Williams. You got to come out and you got to establish yourself right away. Even though you got that big lead, sometimes you have a tendency to sit on it, and all of a sudden the guy's climbing back in, and now you need the mark and you can't get it. He wants to come out and he'll be leading off. He wants to mark right away.
Yeah, in mentioning Scotty Williams, as a matter of fact, he had a 284, I believe, coming into the 3rd string, and ended up with a 384.
Right.
So anything can happen. Our address is coming on the screen again for a Lucky Roll segment, and there it is. And by all means, drop us a card with your name, address, and phone number, and send it along to us, and perhaps you'll be chosen in a Lucky Roll segment. We have got one terrific match here, and I think you're going to enjoy the 3rd string. It looks like it's going to be pretty fine. And we've got a Lucky Roll segment, which is coming up right after you listen to these words from Grapponi and Shaw's. Okay, I'm here with Steve Birch for our Lucky Roll segment, and Steve, I'm going to give this a spin. So I'll have a chance, well, I think of it, I promised that I would say hello to a lady who lives in Boscawen, New Hampshire, named Elaine Lavery. She watches us every week, and I guess she bowls down here once a week. She tells me she's pretty good, but time will tell. Okay, Steve will be rolling, and I think there's, what, $111 in our jackpot. And Steve will be rolling for Louise Philbrick of Box 61 in Concord, or 50 Abbott Road in Pennacook is her mailing address is Box 61 Concord. She lives in Pennacook. And 9 of them go. Yep. So, Louise, you have $9 in Shaw's money coming your way. And perhaps $111. Maybe. Keep going. Nope. Stops on the 1. So we're going to add $1. So it's now $112 on that jackpot. Louise, we thank you for sending us this postcard, or filling out this postcard for us from Pennacook, and we remind you other folks to drop us a postcard. We name, address, and phone number to YCN, 8 Commercial Street in Concord, zip code 03301, and perhaps you'll be chosen on the Lucky Roll segment. We have got one more string, and we've seen some great bowling so far, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed if you hold right on after these commercial messages and wait for that third string. Coming up after this. Okay, we are all set. Steve Vadney was ready to head up there. Starting right off where he left off.
Stevie just took around and said, here we go. Steve Vadney is just bowling with so much confidence right now.
Almost got it.
Very nearly had that one.
We have a 53-pin lead. It's easy to come in relaxed.
I feel you got nothing to lose, everything to gain now, so you can just come out firing. You can bet your life when Stevie gets up there, he's going to be looking for a double.
That is the first. Boxes have below 9.
Yes, it said 2 other 9 boxes. That's 3 other 9 boxes. All he's left standing in the match until that 6. So there's a little light at the end of the tunnel for Stevie. Not much, but
might be a freight train though.
Right.
For a double, the
not a bad ball.
Down 8.
Not a bad ball. There's the 3-5, and obviously he can't afford to miss any of these.
Helping hand.
Climbing back in. He's cut it down to about 33 plus minus a ball.
pro bowler, you must enjoy the instant analysis from the truck that we alone get here.
Yeah, the viewers don't know what they're missing.
Yes.
Regardless of what you and Jimmy says, there are some real intelligent things that come out of that truck.
That's just if Jim or I walk out of there.
Well, Steve has left the door open again for Stevie. He's got a chance to cut into the lead even more. He's got 35 of them back, 35 of the 53. Ooh, slid by that time.
Action there.
Well,
I'm pleased that wood dropped.
Yeah. Looks like he keeps it on the line. He's got it. And gains another one on count there. He's opposite of 9. Just what we were talking about. You come out with the lead, and now you start pressing a little bit, and the brakes don't seem to come. It's whether or not he can hold on.
He would not have missed that string ago.
No, not at all.
Tough leave.
3-6-7. Trying to split the 3-6, although he couldn't possibly be heavy on the 3 and still get it with a wooden back. Eastwood's going to stop it. And he's opened another 2 boxes for Steve.
Well, reminiscent of Scotty Williams' 3rd string after he had bowled tremendously well the other day.
It can happen. Leads down to 27 minus the ball here.
Ooh.
And another spare.
It's getting hairy.
It sure is. It's picked up 33 of the 53. 20 pins minus the ball. And the momentum's all shifted to Stevie right now.
Difficult spare leaf.
Yes, it is, yeah. You wanted to play the diamond in the corner, the 6, 9, and 10, have it come off the wall. And he lost a couple on count there. Leads down to 16. It's within 2 marks of Stevie.
Well, unless Vadney can mark here, he is in danger of being under the dollar sign.
no gimme. He's got the triangle, 3, 5, 6 with a 7. He's going to have to play with the triangle and hopefully he carries the 7-pin. And he doesn't.
All he's going to do is sit back and watch.
That's right. The match is in Stevie's own hands. The fate's in his own hands. I believe Stevie needs 150 pins to tie. He's got a shot at the 3, 6, 10. I think he can get by that piece of wood. He doesn't want to touch that if he doesn't have to. Oh, he's got one of them.
See that reaction.
Okay, so
we got time to see this again.
3, 6, 10 gets by. And, okay, the stage is set here now. The next mark he needs is irrelevant if he doesn't get at least 8 or 9 on the spare. And he's got the 9.
That's unreal.
Okay, he needs this and an 8-pin to win.
That's it.
Yeah, that's he didn't just miss that. I think it was a nice try. Right, it was a nice try. He wanted it so bad, but
boy, oh boy, I tell you,
came from a long ways.
I looked around and there were a couple of people that couldn't bear to look at that one. We talked before, and you said, I said it looks like a very close match, and you said it's going to be a high-scoring match, and it turned out to be a 402 for Vadney and a 395 for Birch, and you can't ask for a higher, closer match than that.
No, considering one of the bowlers threw a 97 too in there. It's just one of those things. Stevie used a lot of energy coming back, and the fate was in his own hands. He had the 9-pin drop, and it just slid by, didn't cover it.
Obviously, it goes to show you that bowling is a game of momentum for one thing, and secondly, it's such a psychological game where Steve Vadney comes in and he has such a humongous lead, so to speak, that he goes from rolling a 164 and gets completely flat. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Well, next week we've got, yeah, I got to put up right up on your screen. You can see that. Next week it's Ed Emerson, the number 2 seed, versus Al Harwood, the number 12 seed, and that one should be a close one, I think.
Yeah, both bowlers are capable of throwing the big games, although Ed squeaked through the first match with one of the lower winning scores, 330 something, I believe. And of course, Al Harwood threw the big total up at this point, 384 against Duffett to win by a pin, so it should be interesting.
Yeah, it was Harwood with 384 to 383 over Gary Duffett, and Emerson had a 338 to Dave Laney's 316. Looks like it's going to be a close one, although certainly won't be as high a match as this one.
I wouldn't think so.
No. We're going to be back and give Danny a chance to talk to our 2 bowlers, and an excellent bowling match it was, right after this. Okay, if you're just joining us, you missed one quality bowling match. Steve Vadney with a 402 and Steve Birch with a 395, and it all came down to one ball, whether Steve could number 7 pin, whether he hit it or not. He didn't, and that's all she wrote. Very interesting matchup. I think the bowlers will have some interesting comments, and let's find out from Dan Murphy.
Well, Steve, short end of the stick today, but you came from a long ways back. Would you done anything different if you had to start over again now?
Yeah, I think I would have knocked down more pins the first 2 strings.
Well, I thought you'd thrown the ball pretty well the first 2 and not dead in the pocket like you usually are, and you started cranking it that third game, and what can we say? What happened in the last box?
Last box? I didn't take my time on it. Usually I just take a little bit of time on those singles and figured I had a nice groove going, so I just picked up the ball and threw it.
Because you were within 2 marks, and the second mark was irrelevant if you didn't throw 8 or 9 on the spare. You got the 9-pin and just yanked it a little bit and missed the spare.
I was hoping for a strike on the last box would have made it a little easier.
Okay, well, I got the loser's share for you, unfortunately, Steve, but I'm sure we'll see you back. Steve, what happens when you go 140-something, 164, and...
I just don't know. Off the head pin a little bit, I guess. Maybe not following through enough, sliding the ball.
People think maybe we try to make it close for television. Is that true?
Could be, but I don't think I'd try to do it more than once.
I wish we could say that was true.
Yeah.
Well, your opponent, I think, was going to come from the match of Ed Emerson and Al Harwood. Any choice?
No, I don't think so.
You both know both of the bowlers well anyways, right?
Yeah, I know Ed and Al both well.
Well, I tell you, if you hit 404, you're not going to have to worry about either one of them, maybe.
Maybe not, but today it didn't look like it was going to hold up either.
Okay, congratulations, Steve, and we'll turn it back up to Don LeBrun.
Okay, boy, I'll tell you, yeah, it's surprising that Steve Vadney won, because it's almost like, oh my God, he rolled a 402 and he's upset with himself, and Steve Birch a 395, and he's upset with himself, and both bowlers bowled tremendous. So funny match, some great bowling though. I think you probably enjoyed it, hopefully. Next week we have with us Ed Emerson, who is the number 2 seed, and Ed qualified with a 665 to get into this, and he defeated Dave Laney by 338, 316 score the 3rd week of the series. And Ed will be meeting Al Harwood, and Al qualified, if I can check it here, with a 627, and Al defeated Gary Duffett, and now that's no easy task by any means. And